Hey guys, Katie Taylor here with scrappinkaty.com, where I show you how to preserve your family's memories through the art of scrapbooking. In today's video, I am playing along with COAPA's 20 Days of Christmas, and today's prompt is the tree. Now here is a look. I took her cut file and actually made it into a, I guess a draw or a pin file. Just removing that from my Cricut mat, and since that will basically be the entire page, I am just going to trim off a little bit of the top and or the side and the bottom so I can mat that on some pine cardstock as well as some pattern paper in that scarlet. I am going to ink distress everything. You'll see here I'm just sponging some toffee around the edges, and everything else I will do off camera. As far as the pine and the scarlet, I'm going to gut it just to kind of save some paper, and then also use that pine cardstock for my photo mats. So in order to gut your paper, you want to line it up at the left, and this one is 1.5 inches, and then this one is actually going to be 3/4 of an inch. So you line your left edge at 3/4, start your blade at 3/4, go up to 11 1/4, and then so on and so forth, rotating, and then you basically have the centers of the cardstock and paper saved. I'm going to go ahead and attach this and then trim that off and then get it adhered to that scarlet pattern paper, and then we are done with the base. As far as the photos, here are the 2 photos. Again, I am using that centerpiece cut from the pine cardstock. I am liking how this is looking, so I'm going to trim that, and then we can start actually playing with the base. So while it had the trees, I definitely wanted to add some more foliage. So I'm just going to pencil around where my photos, where I want them, and then I'm going to take this stamp set, and it's got 3 sprigs. There's 2 that are pretty similar, and then a smaller one. I am going to be using 3 inks. This one is the Seabrook, and then I'm going to come in with the Sage, which is a little bit darker. You can barely tell here, but in the still photos, you'll definitely be able to tell just the slight variation in color, which I think actually gives it a lot of depth. So I'm going to finish off with the pine and then come in with this little piece. I am actually stamping it and then stamping it again, which is 2nd generation. Again, just to kind of give some depth and some different colors. Bringing my photo back in to make sure that I don't need to fill in a bunch, which I did. So I just kind of did that. And then I am going to stamp this cute little bird, and I'll end up stamping that again and coloring it in, and then adding some 3D foam circle just to kind of pop it up. I'm going to go ahead and erase that pencil mark. Not really necessary since my photos will hide it, but I just wanted to, just in case I decided to change the photo placement. As far as embellishments, I have these little, they're bead organizers, but I keep all my embellishments in them, and I knew I had some wooden trees and then a star for that top tree. I'm just going through these and picking out trees, and then I really like the look of that star with the gold gilt spray, but I'm thinking that this unfinished one actually is going to fit better, so I will actually have to add that gilt spray here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and pick out a couple of more trees, and then we can start coloring these wooden shapes. These are retired, although we do have some letters, but I just love them, and I love to keep them in my stash, especially when they're on sale. I just grab a whole bunch because, like you can see here, I'm painting these with the gilt gloss spray, which is going to kind of leave a gold finish. You could also do it with our paint markers. You can do it with paper, like you see that one at the bottom right of that photo. And then I'm going to take this gilt spray and actually just add a few dots. Now, the reason I'm not splattering it is because my photos are already adhered down, and if you guys follow me here, you know that doing stuff at the last minute is detrimental to my layout. So you can see that gold right there. You'll be able to see it a little bit more in the still shots at the end of the video. For this tree, I am going to go ahead and add some of that Seabrook shimmer trim. Now, Seabrook is the part that's on the base of my layout, and I just thought just some glitter and then kind of tone on tone would just kind of be a nice finish for this 3rd tree. The good thing about the shimmer trim is it just sticks directly to your surface, and then I am just going to use my non-stick scissors to trim those off. And you can see how easily that sticky shimmer trim is coming off. In fact, it came off better on the scissors than it did on my fingers. I'm just going to color the trunk with that toffee ink that I used to sponge around all the pieces. And then just go ahead and get these adhered down with a combination of my Barely Art liquid glue, which is really quick drying, as well as it dries clear. And then I'm going to add some 3D foam tape underneath this tree, the part that is hanging off of my photo. And then I'm going to bring out the PML cards from the Christmas Story collection. Now, while the Christmas Story collection is pretty much gone, depleted, no longer, these PML cards are still around, as well as the embellishments. Now I want to add just a spot to journal, and I love these 3x4 cards. They're really meant for pocket scrapbooking, but you can see here I use them a lot on my traditional scrapbooking. So I'm going to choose this one, and then just to kind of be cohesive, I'm going to trim off that right side, and then after sponging around the edges with that toffee ink, I'm going to adhere these pieces down. Now the bigger piece will go on the left where kind of that open space is, and then it will also be an anchor to that tree that I covered with the shimmer trim. And then that little bitty piece is going to go on the right, again, just to kind of add a cohesive element to this card. And I love that these cards can be cut apart. A lot of them have like oversized images on them. You can cut those out and use them as embellishments. You could see there the back of them if you are new here or new to Close to My Heart products. The back is the same, but it's either a different color, and it's also the landscape version. So I'm going to go ahead and get these other trees glued down again with that liquid adhesive. I'm loving this little shimmer trim tree, and I'm going to press that down, and I must have had that gilt spray from that one little skeleton tree, so I'm going to hide it with a heart. But in the end, it really gave me an excuse to use these stickers from the Four Seasons winter collection, and then add even an additional heart, which I really, really love. And then I'm going to bring out my white gel pen just to kind of add some shading. And I think that those two hearts really kind of rounded out all the red in the photos. So here is that tiny little bird. I am coloring it with one of my Tri-Blend markers. It really doesn't take much. You can see I'm just kind of dotting that color. And then I'm going to bring out our gold paint pen to color his beak as well as his legs. And then I'm going to fussy cut that out and then add a small circle 3D foam right on that bird that I actually stamped directly onto my project. I thought that was going to work, but it just kind of blended in with the tree. So I'm really liking this one that is actually pop dotted and colored in. I think it's the perfect little addition. Here is that white gel pen again on those hearts. And then I'm going to come in with some clear sparkles. Now this was totally an afterthought. I actually had these sparkles on my desk from another project, but in the end I really liked them. I kept them in groupings, and then I ended up adding them to a whole bunch of trees. So I think that I'm done, and then I keep looking at it and thinking, no, let me add a title, which is perfect because I pulled out my letters. So I've got wooden, which I thought was going to work, but it just kind of blended in. But then I've got these black acrylic shapes. So I'm actually going to spell out Christmas Tree Farm with these, and then get these adhered down. Now I do end up kind of rethinking how these go. So you can see the Christmas is going to be on the top, and then the tree and the farm will be on the bottom. And again, I just adhere these with the Barely Art liquid adhesive, and they really adhere really well. To adhere these down, you can see I'm starting with the S because I know exactly where I want that to go. And then I'm just going to work myself back to the left on the word Christmas, and then I am going to finish this off by attaching that last M in the word farm, and we are pretty much done. Here are some close-ups. Again, look at the gold on that star, that shimmer, and then of course that adorable little bird, and then those sprigs that I stamped. And then I just love how I actually took the COAPA file and made it a draw. I just love that. And then of course that shimmer trim tree. So don't forget that I will link down below other people who are playing along featuring the COAPA files, as well as a link to her shop, and you will be getting 25% off your order now through the 20th of December. And again, I'll play along when I can. This is the 20 days of COAPA files. So please, if you aren't already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button and sign up for notifications. And then also remember that I will link everything down below. If you aren't in a position to order from any of those links, something as simple as liking this video, commenting, sharing with your friends, that also helps out tremendously. Again, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend.